Greetings. This is Body-Culinary, sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. So I just wanted to check in. In this video, I share the importance of tuning in, respecting, and listening to your own journey. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah. And I just wanted to encourage people to really listen to your own intuition, right? Whether that's hairstyles, decisions. And the reason I share that is because I share on this channel a lot about my own personal process of sitting with myself, right? Sitting in full acceptance of my skin, my hair. If I, have a blemish, let's say I have a little teeny one right now, while I leave it alone. Just being very comfortable in my skin. And I would say, wisdom is hard earned, I like to say, from life lessons. It's very easy to click onto people's YouTube channels, which is not a bad thing. That can be positive in terms of learning, to Google information. But none of looking into the lives of others is a substitute for our own life experience. And someone made a note where they said, or a comment on one of the videos that I don't know how to listen to my intuition. And I could really relate to that, because as a very young woman, I remember the first time I heard the term, I think it might have been from my godmother, the term self-love. And even though it may seem so basic, that was very elusive to me. It didn't really land. I actually didn't understand what a particular behavior of self-love, I didn't get what it meant as a young woman. It seemed almost like coded. Something that's so obvious, and so much information and esoteric information is thrown around: love, self-esteem, self-care, but I didn't know what that looked like. So I would say to folks, especially in a time when we can really see that we're so easily influenced. Again, that's not a negative thing, but ultimately you live in your skin. And I guess what's coming up for me is I'm not here to demonize or to police anyone's food choices, whether you choose to wear makeup or not. Wisdom is hard earned, I like to say, from life lessons. It's very easy to click onto people's YouTube channels, which is not a bad thing. That can be positive in terms of learning, to Google information. But none of looking into the lives of others is a substitute for our own life experience. And someone made a note where they said, or a comment on one of the videos that I don't know how to listen to my intuition. And I could really relate to that, because as a very young woman, I remember the first time I heard the term, I think it might have been from my godmother, the term self-love. And even though it may seem so basic, that was very elusive to me. It didn't really land. I actually didn't understand what a particular behavior of self-love, I didn't get what it meant as a young woman. It seemed almost like coded. Something that's so obvious, and so much information and esoteric information is thrown around: love, self-esteem, self-care, but I didn't know what that looked like. So I would say to folks, especially in a time when we can really see that we're so easily influenced. Again, that's not a negative thing, but ultimately you live in your skin. And I guess what's coming up for me is I'm not here to demonize or to police anyone's food choices, whether you choose to wear makeup or not wear makeup. This all lies with you. And I think it's very important, especially for women, the whole process of sitting with ourselves and sitting with myself is not just about what I look like on the outside, but really important is decision making, right? It's very easy for us to seek guidance from people. And again, this is not necessarily wrong. From elders, from professionals, from doctors. And a lot of times we don't go within to listen. So for example, if you feel something just does not feel right, that's your initial thought. As my godmother used to say, the first thought is the God thought, right? Something just doesn't feel right. And so although everything logical would seem that, I should go along with this course of action, or I should do this or that, it just doesn't feel right. So let me see if I can give some examples. Out of high school, And based on looking at information that was around me, I decided, based on what I was observing, that I intuitively knew I need to make some changes with my food, because I could observe the pattern of substance abuse in my family, but also in particular the way women, we medicate with food, right? So that was on my radar. So certain things started to stand out to me. That's, when I got a job in the village after school, I got exposed to different types of foods other than just the food that was being served to me at home. And I also had a job, right, where I could pay for my own food. So I learned about different types of vegetarian foods, and I got introduced to health food stores and all of that. And that's been a journey for a long time, but it's just not about the physical food. Your intuition, as someone said, I don't know how to listen to my intuition. And that's also a skill. It can be a skill, something that we refine as we learn to articulate ourselves better. Ouch, got my ring caught in my hair. But listening to our intuition, we may not know how to listen to our intuition so much when it comes to, in terms of being naive when we're younger, right? Your first boyfriend, or people that you're attracted to. We don't have as much of a discerning eye, discernment, right? So that we can distinguish between something or someone or some food, something that looks good, but being able to discern, right? Which is a type of maturity and weighing out possible consequences and risks, right? Investment in our time and our energy, right? Possible repercussions for our choices. If we don't have people counseling us, and even then with counsel, some of that wisdom comes from life experiences, knowing what to touch that's hot and what not to touch based on life experience. So I really want to encourage folks, in the case of wearing makeup, I'm not here to demonize you if you wear makeup, if you eat flesh, animal flesh. This is my journey that I'm sharing. If I felt that was healthy for me, or that I was drawn to it, that's something I would do. That's something that I don't feel. So when you look at people, you can try things on for size. I've often thought, how can you tell, right? In a time when scamming is at an all-time high, from people on the internet, people you're taking advice from, who you can't see how to live in, even your own pastors, preachers, imams, rabbis, people in position, their behavior comes to the surface a lot now that we have cell phones and social media. But a lot of times, how can you tell who it is that you're dealing with when everybody has like a really nice business profile that is all made up? That is something to be cultivated. So in terms of listening, I find the more you listen to yourself, and that could be starting out with your food. In terms of maturity, is something, this may taste so delicious, but based on evidence and how you feel, it's just not good for you. So there's a maturity that comes with that. Also, there's a balance in terms of pleasure. So I can't say what that is going to be for you. You're welcome to, look into my experience. If something resonates with you, try it on for size. But ultimately, you will have to live with your results, right? I accept 110% responsibility. Let's say, for example, if I had a B12 deficiency, because I just don't intuitively, no matter what anybody says, I don't want to consume flesh or violence. That's a personal stand that I take. Nobody else in my family necessarily needs to do that, but that's something that I vibe to. I was a vegetarian, then I was vegan for some years, and then there were years where I was doing fitness competitions where I went back to eating poultry, and just intuitively for myself, I just did not want to do it. It just didn't feel right. I didn't care, if I'm going to become skinny and emaciated, which never happened. I didn't want to do it. All that to say, if you wanted to experiment with adorning yourself and feeling pretty, none of us need to be walking around looking like a bum, because we feel it's spiritual. By the same token, there may be a time for you yourself where you feel like, I just want to sit, I don't need anything right now. But should you want to experiment in some healthy, because I know that's one of my biggest concerns with makeup and chemicals, is the health aspect, right? With the health aspect, that's my biggest concern. And then also, I know for me, if I feel so addicted when I take items, whether it be mascara, something off, if I see my eyelashes falling off, or I feel addicted, not able to sit and really appreciate myself without those things. So all that to say, I really want to encourage folks to follow your own path, look at other people, but ultimately try things on for size. and see what fits and resonates with you. So we're not demonizing other people, and also not demonizing ourselves. You know, if you want to try something out. There was so many times where I never thought I would get off of junk food, but the more I was present with how things made me feel when I ate them, and things that consistently broke my skin out, whether that's food, whether that's lack of sleep, you know, that kind of information that you get from inside will help you to get a clarity. And clarity is precious. I would say guard your clarity. It's one thing to read on Google and read other people's stories, but when you have certain life experience and wisdom, people can say whatever they want to say, people can think whatever they want to think, but no one should be able to talk you out of what you know you have experienced. So I hope this makes sense. I really want to encourage folks to the listening within is to really hone a confidence in yourself and your ability to cultivate discernment and just your basic common sense. Sometimes in wanting to fit into a religious group, a cultural group, into groups, into friends, we'll talk ourselves out of our common sense, or talk ourselves out of what doesn't feel right to us. Talk ourselves into going places we really don't want to go, you know, wasting our precious time and life energy. So I want to encourage you to stand on your own square and what feels right with you. Let's say we removed all the labels of vegan, vegetarian, paleo, this or that. Remove all the labels. You know, can you live with yourself? Can you sit with yourself? Can you wear makeup? Can you not wear makeup? I don't know that there's anything as black and white. I'm not about to throw people in the garbage because they move and live different than me, because I share the planet with so many different people, folks that eat meat and flesh and those that don't. So it's not something that resonates with me, having witnessed so much violence in my community. It's not an energy for me that I want to take into my womb, you know, whether that if that was a male or a female, you know, that kind of energy is just something I don't want to consume. The music and misogynistic, that vibe, it just turns me off. The alcohol and drugs turn me off. They're triggers for me because I've watched generations of my family and community be taken out by it. So those things don't have an appeal for me. Maybe it resonates with somebody else different. So I say that to say, you know, when you sit in the early morning in your quiet moments, you know, ask yourself questions, because we all have an innate onboard divine intelligence that's beyond any labels, right? So that we can tap into a sense of peace that's not reliant on a middleman, a pastor, somebody else's interpretation. That's why I love the garden and nature so much, because it's not open to people's interpretation. And it's not trying to scam you. What you put in is what you get. Sometimes you put really good seeds in the ground. Sometimes they don't bust. So you get so much information to be had in the garden. It's a great analogy for life. But I just want to encourage us and women to have confidence, you know, in yourself. And that confidence also can play out in, let's say everyone around you is making other choices in food, but only you know certain things may break you out and certain things are not in alignment with your goals. And also have confidence to know that nature has lots of treats. If you know you want to be healthy and upgrade your food choices for you, you know, the nature has a lot of treats, right? So if you keep that on your radar, different things will be revealed to you over time. So I just really want to encourage you all to have confidence. And also confidence comes from participating, from actually investing time in yourself, investing time in your vigorous, joyous movement practice. That's what I call it, aka exercise, you know, getting moving and sweaty. This confidence that comes from getting yourself in really good shape, and your body knows how to fall to a natural weight on its own. So it's really, I'm sending you all a lot of encouragement. I hope this makes sense, you know. So if you're inspired by anything on this channel, that's great. However, it's your journey, it's your path. If you want to wear makeup, you know, you have more options available. If you want to do some adornment with your eyelashes, your eyebrows. Sometimes I'll just put shea butter on my eyelashes, you know. Sometimes I just like to look and just appreciate what I have. But if you wanted to put mascara, you know, maybe one day I'll want to play, because there's certain things you can play with in this lifetime. And as more chocolate women we set the standard. As fortunately, as we're starting to create more things for ourselves, we can create things that don't have toxic after effects and don't cause fibroids, right? So if you're looking for those things, they will show up on your radar, and maybe you'll create some of those solutions yourself. So also, there's nothing like enjoying your hair. So I do have fine Afro textured hair. It's, you know, it's, I heard somebody say a term the other day that described the color of my hair, which I've always thought was interesting. So I have no intention on dyeing it. I really like the freedom and the relaxation that comes with accepting myself. But you also get to play, you know, with your clothing, with your expression. I'm just very aware of how much time and energy has been spent on clothes that all went into the garbage. And also trying to impress people that don't necessarily have your best interests. So there's no beauty product like health, and you know, you're maintaining a trim waistline, which is not dieting, but just being very aware of the quantity and the quality of fuel that we need. So that's a process of getting really quiet and sitting with yourself. So be encouraged. Create a great day on purpose. Subscribe to the channel if you like. Perhaps share this video with someone that could use some inspiration. Feel free to click it on. You want some company or some support anytime you feel that you need some. And give the video a thumbs up or a like. All right, see you soon. Everybody can grow something.